Alright people, so today what's happening is we're doing some front brakes on the Civic here. I like to lay out all the tools that I think I'm going to need ahead of time, that way I don't have to go in and out of the garage. Got my new rotors and pads, impact wrench, air ratchet, a couple breaker bars, ratchets, some deep well sockets, C-clamp to push the brake caliper back in, gloves so my hands don't get dirty. And one of the first things you want to do is go ahead and remove the reservoir cap. So when you push the caliper back open, the fluid has a place to go. Go ahead and jack up the car, remove the front wheel. I'll show you what to do next. So you've got the car in the air, it's properly supported. You're ready to start removing the brake caliper right here. It's actually pretty straightforward. There are two bolts that you must remove. One is there, and the other one is kind of difficult to see from this angle, but it's down on the bottom. It looks exactly the same as this one. So the one down on the bottom, one down on the top. Remove those two bolts and your caliper will slide out. So I figure I'll go ahead and show you how to get these bolts loose. This is where that big breaker bar comes in handy. If you can get it to fit up in there, that is. There you go. So that one's loose. The other one might be a little bit more difficult to get to because it's in the back. There we go. So those are popped loose. I'm going to cheat and use an air ratchet from here on out. Pull those two bolts. They'll come out nice and easy. You can just as easily do this job without air tools. However, I have air tools, and it makes my life much more simple, so I'm going to use them. Boom. Caliper's off. You can see these pads aren't completely worn out yet, but they're worn out enough. It's my wife's car. I'm going to go ahead and get them swapped out. The next thing you want to do is get the rotor off. It's pretty easy. It's just held in by these two screws here. Just take a big Phillips head screwdriver, pop those off. If those don't want to come out, you can drill them out. It's a little bit more difficult that way, but you can do it. So I'm going to remove those, then show you how to put the new rotors on. Okay, so check it out. You've got your two screws removed. This is easy. The rotor just slides off. No big deal. Set that to the side. Take your new rotor, slide it on. The only thing you want to make sure of is that the holes for those two screws line back up so you can put those back in. Those aren't actually really necessary because it's really only from the factory. Those screws kind of hold the rotors in position as everything else is assembled, but I like to have them there just in case you take the wheel off or whatever, that rotor's not trying to wobble around on you and stuff. So I just leave them. What the heck? No big deal. They're not hurting anything. They help hold stuff in place. So I leave them. So that's it. Your new rotor's on. The next thing you want to do is get your new pads installed. So this is where the C-clamp comes in. I remove the pad from the outer part first and leave the inner pad in place so that I can use the surface of the old pad so I can get right in the center of that caliper. And you want to take the C-clamp and push this all the way back in. You want to make sure that you're being mindful of the brake reservoir up above, that doesn't overflow and spill out into your engine compartment, because then you're going to have a big mess. So once that bottom's out on the caliper, remove your C-clamp. Remove the old pad. Now you do want to make note of which pad has the little brake noise thingy, brake wear indicator on it. On this case it was on the inside, so you want to put it back on the inside. Also, grab some of this crap, the brake lubricant, and spread that over there. It has these little pads on the contact surfaces on these pads, which are supposed to keep it from squealing and whatnot. However, sometimes those things don't always work, and I'd rather just put that stuff on there to be safe than have to take the brake system back apart and deal with putting it on later. So these pads are pretty easy to put in. Just line up the notches on the edges, put those into position, slide everything back in place. If your brakes came with new hardware to go here, go ahead and replace those if you feel like you need to, but it isn't really usually necessary, and some brake pads don't even come with it. So if it didn't come with it, don't worry, as long as everything looks like it's in good shape and it's holding the pad securely. This might take a little bit of finagling to fit. Just make sure you're getting everything in straight. Should all go back together. Of course, it's going to make it look like a monkey. This little piece here isn't wanting to cooperate over on this side. That little metal piece that I was just referring to. Come on now. Well, if anything, it's a nice snug fit, I tell you that much. By the way, these parts, I bought at Advance Auto Parts, just down the street from my house. And I bought them there. I got, for $72, including tax and everything, I bought a full set of front pads and rotors. So not a bad little deal there. I did use a coupon code. You can find those online. Just type in Advanced Auto Parts coupon codes, and you'll get several that will pop up. I think I used one, TRT41, which gives you $40 off a $100 purchase. This purchase came out to $107, and I saved $40. Not bad. Much cheaper than taking your car to the shop and getting the brakes replaced, that's for sure. Anyways, I'm having a little trouble with this pad, so I'm going to turn the camera off, get it in there, and then show you how to put everything back together. Okay, so this is what was giving me the issue getting the pad to go back into place. You can see over on this side, it's nice and squared out, the pad fits in there nicely. Over here though, this little spring piece is pushing this way, which is actually a good thing, because it's putting pressure on that pad, keep it from squealing around. But what you want to do is, like I just did there, push it from the bottom up, and then it'll slide into place. And it just did that. So there we have it. I'm going to reposition the camera, show you how to put this back together. So you've got your pads back into position. The next thing you want to do is reinstall your caliper. Make sure that your brake line does not have a twist in it. And then this actually is a very straightforward process putting this back in. Just make sure you've got everything completely opened up, and slide it back into position, and then reinstall your two bolts that go on the back. So I always like to do the top one first, because I can see where that one is. Kind of visualize the threads going into the caliper. And I just give it a few turns just to kind of hold it in position. That way it gives us the ability to pivot here, and then kind of wiggle it back and forth a little bit until you start getting it threaded in on the bottom side. So that's threaded back in. I'm going to use my air wrench to tighten it back up, and then my breaker bar to snug it up. And then that's pretty much it. After that, once you tighten those two bolts, put your wheel back on, you're ready to roll. Thank you very much for watching. Check out my channel. I've got about 185 videos on how to do other things. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button. If you know somebody with a car like this who would benefit from this video, feel free to share it. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well. Thank you very much for watching.